What do the Finns need to know about Portugal? The blue cross on white background was the Portuguese flag, 800 years before being the Finnish flag. We are one of the oldest nations in Europe, and before Portugal became Portugal, the Phoenicians passed by, and the Greeks, and the Romans, and the Vandals, and the Swabians, and the Visigoths, and the Arabs. Portuguese is spoken in 5 continents. There are 2 times more Portuguese speakers in Oceania than there is population in Luxembourg, and 20% of the population of Luxembourg is Portuguese. Rome has more Portuguese churches than some of our cities. The second city with more Portuguese natives is Paris. The last time Benfica played in Paris against a Parisian team, there were more Portuguese fans than French. We invented the maritime compass. We invented the breech cannon. We invented the prefabrication of buildings in stone. We invented the Latin sail. We invented the salted cod, the pastilla de nata custard tart. We invented the prepaid card for mobile phones. We invented the green lane toll payment system for motorways. And we're one of the countries with the fewest patents in the world. We have more mobile phones than inhabitants. 60% are Nokia. There are more Portuguese natives outside Portugal than in Portugal itself. We introduced firearms in Japan. Arigato is a Portuguese word. We abolished slavery in 1751, more than a century before the United States. Portugal was the first country in the world to abolish the death penalty. In most cultures, parts of pork is eaten. In others, pork is not eaten. The Portuguese, on the other hand, eat the whole pig, all of it. We even invented a dish with its entrails. Napoleon tried to conquer Portugal 3 times and failed. Columbus told the King of Portugal that he had discovered America, and only afterwards did he tell the King of Spain. We taught the English to drink tea, and the first English queen to drink it at 5 o'clock was Portuguese. We have more territory than Denmark and the Netherlands together. We were the only country in Europe that did not burn Templars. The real Casino Royale is in Cascais. Ambassador Sosa Mendes saved more Jews than Oskar Schindler. We divided the world in 2 with Spain, and we got the better part. Brazil. Our national dish is fished in Norway, 4,000 kilometers away. We invented the Japanese tempura. The Portuguese massa tenra pastry is the basis of the Chinese rolls. We were the ones who took chili to India. Without us, there would be no curry. In the 18th century, the income of the King of Portugal was 30 times higher than that of the King of England. The first European to build a city in Asia was Alexander the Great. The second was Alfonso de Albuquerque. In the 17th century, a Lisbon adventurer was king of Myanmar. His name was Felipe de Brito. Cuba is a village in the middle of Portugal. We're the only European country that has never won a Eurovision Song Contest. We're the only country to have taken an amateur team to the Rugby World Cup. The only statue to a football player in Portugal is to a black man born in Mozambique. 60% of Americans think that Portugal is a province of Spain. So do some Spaniards, but the primates of Spain were from Portugal. Portugal was in Macau, China, for over 446 years. Its presence lasted 290 years more than the occupation of Hong Kong by the British. The colonies of Portuguese fishermen in Canada are older than Canada itself. We're the country with the most world titles in a sport that is no longer played anywhere else in the world, hockey on rollerblades. During World War II, Cascais had more kings without a throne than it had 5-star hotels. The Portuguese Empire lasted 6 centuries. It was the longest global empire in history. The oldest bookshop in the world is in Portugal. So is the most advanced science research center in the field of health. Garcia da Horta was the physician of an important Indian sultan and of the Portuguese viceroy. As a gift for his services, he received a small city called Mumbai. During the 16th century, all the European courts had a Portuguese doctor. The House of Bragança was so rich that it didn't charge taxes on its land for 120 years. We have the world's oldest alliance in force, and we still take it seriously. 53% of external trade of the European Union pass through waters that are under Portuguese jurisdiction. We have the 11th largest exclusive economic zone in the world, 15 times the size of continental Portugal. The expansion of the continental platform puts us in 10th place. The 9th place is held by Brazil, where Portuguese is also spoken. We also had our own Jean-Jacques Cousteau. He was born 50 years earlier and worked in Cascais. Portuguese is the 5th most spoken language in the world, the 6th most used on the internet, ahead of Arabic and French. The Portuguese-speaking market is the 6th largest economic power in the world. We invented rosé. We sell rosé, but do not drink rosé. We are the country with the oldest borders in Europe. James Bond was invented in Estoril. Our Ronaldo is better than the Brazilian Ronaldo. Magellan was the 2nd most famous Portuguese to serve the Spanish crown. Mourinho is the most famous. In September 1999, nearly 1.5 million Portuguese people manifested, forcing the Indonesian to leave the East Timor territory. But one of the largest volunteer campaigns ever in Portugal was in 1940. We collected tons of clothes and cereals to support another peripheral, poor and starving country. This country was Finland.